Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our NFL Week 4 Thursday Showdown slate. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below this week and watch all of our NFL, MLB, and NBA videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily FanDuel and DraftKings cash lineups. Hey, we truly want to shop for our DFS needs. So make sure to check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So what up, Jeremy? How you doing out there, bro?
Hey, can we get some offense tonight?
Hey,
Can we get like a little bit of offense?
Hey, you seen the meme that I put out the last week after Thursday? I said, hey, Thursday night games is where offenses go to die, you know? But definitely think that today we'll get a little bit of offense at least a little bit more than we've definitely been getting. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm like, we've been talking about these showdown slates, breaking them down now. This NFL season is actually my first time really playing these single game slates, and I'm actually really liking them. I'm enjoying them, and I'm ready to jump into today's game.
Well, I am hopeful there's going to be offense tonight, but unfortunately, when I look at where these teams rank offensively in the NFL, Green Bay, while they may have a decent record and have had a decent start to the season, they rank down near the bottom, only 286.7 yards of offense per game. The Eagles kind of middle of the pack at 365 in comparison to like Baltimore, Kansas City, Dallas, even San Francisco, averaging over 460 to 500 yards of offense a game. These teams are kind of down near the bottom here. So I'm hopeful, but
yeah. Well,
one thing I will hold my breath.
One thing I will say when it comes to the Packers is they've played a couple really tough defenses. I mean, I will give them that. Minnesota, Chicago week 1, even Denver's defense isn't too bad. And the Philadelphia, they just banged up. I mean, everybody's going down quick. But yeah, I think today's gonna be a fun one, man. So I mean, I'm ready to jump into it. So I mean, we can just kind of start with the quarterbacks first, and we can kind of go that way. I mean, who you liking more tonight, Carson Wentz or Aaron Rodgers?
I'm really liking Aaron Rodgers a lot more. I think that, it's a new system, and as this season starts to evolve, I think you're going to see a really good they'll evolve. I think this thing will start to evolve more. I think that, when you start off any season, the offense is typically always behind the defense. Defensive schemes are easier to install. It doesn't take as much time. Offense takes more timing, etc. And that's kind of where it was to start with. Now you throw in the fact that it's a new coach, new coordinator. I think that as each game goes, I think you're going to see more offensive production from Green Bay. I think that they're really trying to be balanced, and not just with run to pass, but the type of pass. They want to bring the play action passing game in. I like Aaron Rodgers a lot more. Not to mention, we've already seen this show really with a good quarterback going against this Philadelphia team. That was Matt Ryan, and then we've seen an average quarterback from a team that just got put on wax on Monday night, what they did to this Philadelphia defense. So, Philadelphia's defense leaving some things to be desired so far this season. I like Rodgers a lot.
Yeah, I like Rodgers also. He's due for a big game. I mean, and it's crazy to say that he's due for a big game when the guy, he's averaging, about two. Well, we're used to Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball 40 times, averaging over 300 yards, a game. Right now he's only averaging about 220 yards a game right now. He's thrown 1 touchdown in 2 of the 3 games. Only 1 touchdown where he actually threw 2 touchdowns. We've seen Aaron Rodgers in the past throw 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter. You know what I mean? Like he's due for a 4 touchdown game. I definitely think that today could be that day. And I think that today we're gonna, like I said when we started the video, we're gonna see some offense tonight. That's kind of what I'm anticipating. And I'm with you. I like Rodgers a lot. And then, Philadelphia, they have just not been looking good. I mean, it is what it is. The win that they snuck out, they had to have an absolute, really, really good second half just to squeeze by, it was Washington, right? That was the first game. Yeah, I mean, and we've been talking about Washington and their defense already. I mean, they're not a good team at all. So Philadelphia barely squeaked by them. They haven't looked good. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like the Packers today. I definitely think that they're gonna have a really good night for sure. I don't know what to do in the running back situation, man. You got Aaron Jones really sharing the workload with Jamal Williams. They're almost identical splitting, the touches. And then even on the Philadelphia side of things, you got Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, you even got Sproles coming in. They're in a timeshare as well. This really reminds me of the Monday night game and kind of what we're talking about, where you kind of spread your exposure a little bit more in this game. It's not there's two players that are the best players on this team, and you're gonna by far they're gonna be like the best fantasy production. Any of these guys could sneak into the end zone, and I legitimately feel there's about 5 running backs that you can play on today's slate.
Yeah, and Miles Sanders coming out of Penn State, and we don't know a lot about Miles Sanders, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at his career at Penn State, and it's not like he just racked up a whole bunch of yards and had a prolific career there. Played in 13 games and 16 had 688 yards then, and 17 he only had 76 yards. We don't know a lot about who Miles Sanders is. We've seen some flashes of brilliance this year with Miles Sanders. There's a lot of kind of hype around Miles Sanders, but we don't know a lot about him. I do think that he will probably be the most underlooked of the running backs in this game, and I think he'll be the lowest owned option. And if he's gonna, if his share of touches is going to continue to trend up, I like him in this spot as a flex play. You don't really know what's going to happen with Green Bay either. You don't know what's going to go on with the running back situation there. So I mean, I kind of like the play of Miles Sanders as a flex play. He's not I'm not going to put him in my captain spot.
Yeah, no. And one thing I will say is I don't know if he's necessarily going to be the most under-owned of the running backs, just because when it comes to Philadelphia, he's been the one that's getting the work. I thought when they brought in Jordan Howard, he's shown us the past couple of years he can be a one, he can be a number one running back, and he was kind of getting spelled by Cohen in the past game in Chicago. I definitely thought that Jordan Howard would be a little bit more involved in the offense, and Miles Sanders has really been taking away a lot of work from him. And as you mentioned, every week the touches are starting to trend up. So, I mean, of all the Philadelphia guys, I am going to like Miles Sanders the most. And then, I mean, on the Green Bay side of things, last week I thought that, Aaron Jones was going to kind of start taking over a little bit more of the running back one role out there in Green Bay. And it almost went back to a dead split like it was, the first couple of weeks of the season. I'm just going to kind of get a little bit of exposure for everything. It is what it is. I'll even have a couple shares of Sproles. Not saying in the MVP spot, but, we talk about on these slates, we got to find, we got to differentiate ourselves some way, and that could be possibly a way that we can look to go. Mix around the running backs. I mean, that's my best advice. Would you kind of be in the same boat?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I agree completely with that and mixing around the running backs. I think that the way this game could play out is that, I like Miles Sanders. I do like Miles Sanders quite a bit. I don't have a problem with Aaron Jones. I think that those are probably the two popular plays, right? And I just don't think that either one of those two guys is going to have the night that you're going to have them in the MVP spot in order to win a tournament. I think they're both fine as flex plays. And if you want to get exposure beyond that, it's really kind of the same play. My opinion is the passing game is going to be what's on full display. I think that the statistics of Aaron Rodgers and the statistics of Carson Wentz, I think will have people more on Wentz than they will on Rodgers, because he hasn't done what, like you said, he hasn't done what he's done for the most part over the course of his career. So, I'm looking at that as a more lower owned play, but I think the passing game is what you focus on in this game.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would definitely agree with you. I think it's going to be just a back and forth. Just both quarterbacks are going to throw the ball close to 40 times, and I think we're going to finally get some offense. Finally, I think we're going to get some offense on a Thursday night game. This is actually a pretty good game. Moving on to the wide receivers, just like we're talking about, Aaron Rodgers hasn't necessarily had that game. It's the same thing with Davante Adams. We know this guy has, massive upside. He's top 5 wide receiver in the league. And he hasn't had those games, and I think that he's due for a game, and I think that him and Rodgers could definitely have, a really, really good night tonight. Davante Adams, he's always been a big-time red zone target for Aaron Rodgers, and he hasn't got any touchdowns. So I think that tonight is a night that you can definitely look at Davante Adams. It's looking like Jeffries is going to be back in the lineup after being out last week. Deshaun Jackson is out. So I think that you can still look at a guy like Nelson Aguilar, and then you can look at Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's been the guy that he's been getting a bunch of targets. Last week he got 10 targets, and I feel like what a lot of people are doing is they're trying to take away Devontae Adams and trying to make somebody else beat him. I mean, do you kind of feel that way early on in the season?
Look, I try it. Go ahead. Fine. Maybe. I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest with you. You could try to take away Devontae Adams, take away whoever you want. The bottom line with Aaron Rodgers is going to find the open guy. Right now,
Right.
the guy that he's going to is Valdez-Scantling. You mentioned the targets, 6 for 99 in the touchdown last week against Denver. Speaking of Denver and last week, the one thing I do want to mention and why I like Miles Sanders is Aaron Jones had a 2-touchdown game last week, right? But he had 10
Right.
carries for 19 yards. Like it wasn't like, oh man, it was super impressive. Jamal Williams, to me, from the running back standpoint, that's where when I say the pass, I think the pass game is what's going to be in play today. I would focus a little bit more on Jamal Williams and
Okay.
him because of the targets. And if you look, like you said it yourself. You said that it's more of a split carry situation. I mean, last week 12 carries for Jamal Williams and 10 for Aaron Jones. Jamal Williams out-touched Aaron Jones. It's just Aaron Jones scored 2 touchdowns. So do you use some Aaron Jones in your MVP spot to hedge against him having another 2-touchdown game? Yes. But the bulk of your exposure, I think, is passing game centric. On the flip side of that, just following this up before I get it to the receivers, Denver rushed for 159 yards last week against Green Bay. I mean, Philip Lindsay had his best game, right? I think that we're going to find out tonight if the struggles of the Philadelphia Eagles is their offensive line is terrible and that's why they invested in the draft in it, or if they just haven't been running on all cylinders yet. As far as the pass game goes, you can't not play Devontae Adams. Like you
Oh,
can't not play him at all. So I think Devontae Adams is a guy who's definitely deserving of some of your lineups the captain or MVP spot. I think Scantling is also uh, deserving of that. And then the third guy here, I'm gonna say Jimmy Graham, man. I'm gonna say Jimmy Graham. Look, week one, who had the big game for the Washington Redskins against the Philadelphia Eagles? It was Vernon Davis, right? Their secondary is very, very weak. You had a slot receiver last week against Washington ball out, but overall, the tight end position has been murdered by these guys. Darren Waller had a good game, right? You could just kind of streamline tight ends against Denver, and I think when you look at it, this is a good spot for Jimmy Graham at 6,500. He allows you to do a ton of stuff. I would get some exposure to him as an MVP because nobody else is going to do that. But I think he's a valid flex play, especially if um, he's able to be on the field. I mean, no receptions last week, and he does have 1 touchdown this season. I just like that play quite a bit. And the other guy I'll mention is Mercedes Lewis. I think he's definitely worth using in a couple of lineups as a flex play. Mercedes Lewis, we know what he did in his time in Jacksonville. And then on the Philadelphia side, it's really simple, dude, right? Is it really complicated? They
yeah.
kind of have 3 receivers that are available, and one of them is a tight end.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. I will say I do like the Jamal Williams call. I think that's a really good call. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think that's a big way that you could differentiate yourself. Is playing a couple lines with Jamal Williams, hoping that he gets the touchdowns this week because he's definitely getting basically the same amount of touches, etc. One more wide receiver I quickly want to throw out there is I want to throw out there Geronimo Allison. This player reminds me exactly of like the Gabriel play that we had the other day. Gabriel, he's a really good slot receiver. He hasn't necessarily had a good start to the season. He went out and had 3 touchdowns what was that, Monday, correct? So Allison is a guy I just think that, he's a guy that's going to come in very low owned. I'm not saying play a ton of Allison, but we're trying to differentiate ourselves a lot, on this small slate, and he's a guy that's probably going to be lower owned and we could throw in there as well. Outside of that, I mean, kicker-wise, which kicker do you like, between these 2 teams?
Yeah, I mean, both kickers are good kickers. Both kickers have had Jake Elliott's a solid kicker. You can go back to, when he made the big splash opening weekend against the New York Giants a few years back when he kicked that 60 or 63-yard field goal. And then the steady Eddie Mason Crosby. I would probably favor Jake Elliott a little bit more because I think Green Bay has a better defense, and that would give you, and I always say this, if you're picking a kicker, you want to look at what a defense does from a red zone standpoint. If it's a good defense, things get condensed in the red zone. I would kind of lean more towards Jake Elliott than Mason Crosby in this situation because I think Green Bay will convert their red zone opportunities. Whereas I think that maybe Philadelphia that could be the difference in this game where Philadelphia kind of can't cash in touchdowns and maybe get some field goals.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and you're right. I mean, I'm going to get exposure definitely to both of the kickers because they both are good kickers. They both could kick at a pretty good distance as well. So I think that's really where we're at. Just quick breakdown of tonight's Thursday night showdown slate. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the site dfscheatsheet.com. We got all of our different videos breaking down each position, our top 5 to 10 plays, basically. At each position. So check that out, dfscheatsheet.com. And hey, good luck on your guys' contest tonight. All right, peace out.